What's up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the OHIO Podcast Monday Night Call-In Show. I am your host, the Wildman, Chris Wilds, and we are live, fired up, and ready to talk all things Scarlet and Gray tonight. Before we dive in, make sure you're hitting that like button, hit that subscribe, ring that bell so you never miss a show. And hey, you want to support us? Two great ways to do that. One would be to drop us a super chat in the chat tonight. As well, you can also become a member. It's only $3.99 a month. Lots of great benefits of becoming a member, including free t-shirt after your first renewal payment. You got the free access to free shipping from the online store. Great behind-the-wall content. And last but not least, coming out soon, you will get digital access to our Big Ten Preview magazine. We are proud to be the official Ohio State podcast of Scarlet and Game Fanside. Head over to scarletandgame.com, catch great articles and the full audio version of our podcast, just in case you don't like what we look like. We are also the official Ohio State podcast of the College Huddle. Go over to thecollegehuddle.com, where you can find more than 80 football podcasts spanning the entire college football world. All right, guys, it looks like the chat is hopping early. I love to see that. I see Tyler, Andre, Ryan Day's Championship Beard. We got our boy Eric in the chat here as the College Huddle tonight. Buck Vader's in the chat. Guys, welcome to all of you. All right, let's get into topics. What do we want to talk about? We want to talk about recruiting. You know, the Buckeyes had a big weekend with 12 recruits in town this past weekend. 4 of them already committed: Sam Greer, Max Riley, CJ Son, and Tucker Smith. But guys, a lot of buzz around Sincere Johnson, who was here in town, as well as his Glenville teammate, Florida commit Jameer Perez, who many expect to flip to the Buckeyes. Maybe you want to talk Big Ten football predictions. Now, you know, guys, Eric and I are in the midst of doing our two-a-days. We just started recording those today, and those are where we drop our previews. But in the process of that, we have to predict all of the win totals for the various teams throughout the Big Ten. Well, ESPN dropped their list this afternoon. They got 3 teams at 10-2, 2 at 8-4, 3 more at 7-5. We have 3 at 6-6, and then we have 4 teams at 5-7. Northwestern at 4-8, and then our buddy Dylan Coons, Purdue Boilermakers, they've got them at 3-9. Are the Buckeyes overrated? Are they underrated? Who's overhyped? Who's not? If you want to talk about that, I've got all of those win totals we can talk about. Maybe we want to talk about expectations. Can we repeat as national champs? Or maybe you're still not done talking about the blue delusion. Whatever's on your mind, guys, it's on the table tonight. Phone lines are open. 567-483-1999. Now, before we go to our first caller, I just want to throw this out here. Many of us saw the show on Thursday night. Kind of in a little bit of a rough note. Dan, if you're out there and you want to call in, I'm all good with that, my dude. As long as you're calling in to apologize and you're coming with reality and not whatever little fantasy land you're living in. You want to talk about some Buckeye football? I'm good with that. You got to come on here. You're going to try to stir up trouble. Man, I'm just going to put you out. No questions asked, my dude. So tread carefully, my friend. So let's get started. We're going to go on down, Aaron. Let's see what we got here. 7. Oh, I know this one. Do we have a Wolverine Slayer on the line?
Yes, you do.
TG, how's it going?
It's going well, Eric. How are things going for you?
Well, they must be going pretty good if you're calling me Eric, man, because that means I got about 10 years younger, man.
I'm sorry, Chris.
No, that's okay. Chris. I'll take that as a compliment.
Chris. I'm just tired.
I'll take it as a compliment.
I'm just a little tired. I'm sorry, Chris.
That's
How you doing, man?
Hey, I am great. I mean, it is a beautiful day to be alive right now. And I am so determined we're going to have a great show tonight. Just completely determined about that. And, I don't know if you saw it or not. I'm really pumped. The video you and I dropped last week, I got a heck of a response,
Yep.
man. That's awesome. We're going to have to do that again. And I'm sure that
Oh,
over the course of the next 90 days, we are going to have many, many opportunities.
we are. Especially because I actually enjoy watching the Michigan fans cry in there. So
Oh, I
I'm not
know.
gonna
It's fun, isn't it?
lie. Yeah.
So what's happened?
Oh, they're really gonna hate me, especially with what I'm gonna have to say about them later on. Because I told people in the chat that I might go off on them tomorrow. Now it depends on if we have the time, because myself and Sean will have a special guest tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome. Before you drop that tidbit on us, hey, what's on your mind tonight? Maybe I can get you fired up tonight, and you can roast some blue marshmallows tonight.
I mean, here's what I will say to these blue marshmallows. Anybody who thinks I've been listening today, especially about the Bryce Underwood stuff. Please get over that. Like, anybody who thinks this kid, and listen, I think he's a good quarterback, but he was playing against the weakest competition. I think if he went to a school that actually could develop quarterbacks, aka LSU, then yeah, he'd be a good quarterback. With Michigan, you're heavily overhyping this kid to the point where it's like, you guys are thinking this guy could be a Heisman finalist. I'm like, with y'all team, he's not going to be. If he was at LSU, he would be. Because at least with LSU, you got a run game, you got an offensive line, you got receivers, because LSU is in the wide receiver conversation. You got tight ends. You got to, I mean, I know their defense kind of sucks, but let's be real. It's better than what's come guy right now. I mean, let's be honest here. Like, that kid is not going to amount to anything in the Big Ten. And it's not hard planning against Michigan, everybody. It's so simple. Stack the box and stop the run, and really just blitz the whole time. Like, make that quarterback have to throw the ball. Make him have to try to get the ball to the playmakers. Let's see if the playmakers can actually do something. These people are just utter morons. Again, Bryce Underwood, I think he would be a great quarterback if he went to LSU, because the history with LSU, you look at Jaden Daniels, you look at Joe Burrow, you look at some of their past quarterbacks, they've done super, super well.
Yeah.
You go to Michigan, what's their best thing? Like, people keep bringing up J.J. McCarthy's a top 10 pick, and it ain't no different than Ryan Leaf being picked number 2 overall in the draft, or Johnny Manziel being a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, or somewhere close to that. Like, no, dude, it don't matter. He is the lesser version of both those guys. If you're really looking at J.J. McCarthy, this guy is J.J. McHandoff, because that's all he does. And if you listen to him with the Minnesota Vikings for the past 2 years, before he got injured, he wasn't looking good with the Vikings. And now that he's come back, he still don't look good. He looks straight crap. And the Vikings are like, oh, man, I think we made a mistake drafting this guy number 10. He's not that good.
Yeah. He and I actually commented, Spiro had posted something about this the other day, and I commented on it. But McCarthy is great at handing the ball off. But you mentioned two great comparisons there. First of all, Ryan Leaf, I think, had a much, much more talented arm than J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, for sure. But he wasn't that good of a quarterback.
No, he wasn't that good of a quarterback. Johnny Manziel, if he wasn't such...
More athletic.
He was more athletic. If he wasn't such a child, I think he could have actually had an okay NFL career. But
maybe not. Who knows? It's like they both have more talent than J.J. McCarthy, but still, they still suck.
But getting back to what you were talking about with Underwood, I do feel like they're putting a lot of undue pressure on this kid as a true freshman.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be a little hypocritical, because I labeled Jeremiah Smith the best player in the country before he took a snap. But you know what?
Here's the difference.
There were signs pointing to that, though, too.
Yeah, that's where the biggest difference was. Is with J.J. Smith, you could see it in him. And it wasn't just the coaches. First of all, I trust the Ohio State coaches more than I would ever trust the Michigan coaches when it comes to evaluating talent at the Ohio State, especially because a lot of these guys come from the NFL. So yeah. I trust their ability to say something about a player than I would trust Michigan ever. But it wasn't just the Ohio State coaches saying this. It wasn't just beat writers. if you go to SFE, the Suffolk Florida Express, where Brandon English, Carnell Tate, and Jeremiah Smith all came from, they were saying the same thing about Jeremiah Smith too. So, and trust me, those guys are really good at evaluating talent. Like they know elite wide receivers. They tell Ohio State if you're missing out on someone like the Corey Morris, Jamie French, the two receivers they were after.
Yeah,
they told Ohio State, if you miss out on those two, you're not really missing out on much. Sure, they're talented, but they're not Jeremiah Smith, and they're not this phenom that they got that's now a freshman in high school. So it's like, nah, they straight up told him. They don't sugarcoat at SFE, man. They tell you how it is. They will tell you straight up. You will not be missing out on anything.
Here's the thing.
But Jeremiah Smith, they hyped him up. Bryce Underwood, I don't hear anyone else but Michigan and the scumbag Village fans talking about this kid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Underwood. Is he going to be a good quarterback? Maybe. He's arguably the best quarterback recruit ever to go to Ann Arbor. Very high expectations. But like you said, are they going to be able to develop him? And more importantly, are the fans and the coaches going to have the patience to develop him? Ryan Day's championship beard threw something in there in the chat, which I was going to bring up, which is he's going to have his ups and downs. He's a freshman. You've got to let him develop. Quarterback is not an easy position to play as a junior or senior. But as a freshman, getting used to playing at the speed of the Big Ten game, at the toughness of the level of toughness of the Big Ten, and he came out there, he went 12 of 26, I think, in their spring game, a touchdown, an interception. Touchdown, I think, was thanks to a trick play. He was okay.
Yeah, he wasn't good in the spring game.
But you know what? I go back and I say, Justin wasn't great in his first spring game, and look at the way he became. But at the same time, I don't think this guy's Justin Fields.
You actually have a quarterback guru. That's actually because you have a quarterback guru in Ryan Day. And we all knew something with Justin, but he never even knew the playbook. So it took him a while to really get there from the spring game, which is why I wasn't worried. Like, I watched the spring game. I'm like, while he played bad, I could see greatness in Fields. With Underwood, I didn't see it, though, when I watched the spring game with him. Like, I could watch, because here's the funny thing. It's not just stats I'm looking at. I'm looking at your play. I'm looking at, do I see something in you? Do I see something special? Do I see a guy who could be a superstar down the line? Is that what I'm seeing? With Justin Fields, for as bad as he was in the spring game, I could see it with Fields. I'm like, this guy's going to be a great quarterback. I know he had a bad spring game.
Yeah.
But I could see it in Fields. Whereas with Underwood, I just couldn't see it. Now, here's the other thing, too. RDC, Ryan Day's championship beard, he brought up, like, this could be close to Dylan Raiola. I actually think he could be worse than Dylan for this very reason.
Oh, yeah.
At Nebraska, Dylan Raiola is surrounded with some good weaponry. I'm not saying it's great, like he's like he has all this elite, but he has a good offensive line, a good run game, good wide receivers, good tight end play, and a good defense. Like he's got something around him to help him out. Like, yes, while he had up and down years, he still had a heck of a year for a freshman quarterback.
Yes.
Because he actually had help around him to help him out. If the coaching did their job, I think the record could have looked a lot better than it did before. I completely put that on coaching. But again, they broke through, got to a bowl game, and you saw the greatness in Dylan Raiola. Like again, the kid got question marks there. Don't get it twisted, but he's a great quarterback. You can see it in him. With Underwood, what does he got in Michigan compared to Raiola? Because I would argue that Raiola was coming into a better situation at Nebraska than Bryce Underwood is coming into Michigan. Like, what do you got in Michigan?
Well,
you got no receivers for starters, no good tight ends because Coastal Love is gone. You may got two good running backs, and like Justice Haynes, I think actually no, because he needs to get that much playing time with the Alabama Crimson Tide. So I kind of wonder how good of a running back he is for you to not get playing time with Alabama like that, for you to be on the bench more, if anything. And then who's the other running back? Jordan Marshall. He's a pretty good running back, but with Tony Alford as his coach, I don't really see how that's going to go 1 or 2.
And here's the thing: what's going to happen as the sanctions roll out? As the sanctions roll out, how many of these people are going to be running for the hills?
All of them. I mean, unless they're big time fans of Michigan, which we all know Bryce Underwood ain't.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like you're right. I think that, and Bryce Underwood, I'm going to have a natural dislike for him just because of where he's playing. But I think he's been put into an impossible situation. You look at this, and
And here's yeah.
it's almost like you look back at this and what can potentially happen. This could be worse than that year under Luke Fickle, where following Tattoo
Mm-hmm.
Gate, that it's just like you can't expect them to go out and win with everything
And here's the
that happened.
funny, we could have won a lot of games if Luke Fickle made better decisions. But granted, he's a first time coach, so I can't fault him for that. And if you
Yeah,
look at Fickle as a head coach, he actually has been pretty good. I know Wisconsin hasn't been great because he's been trying to incorporate air raid into their offense, which I think they should do that because you do need to evolve with this style of college football. But they don't have the pieces. So until he gets the pieces, he needs to stick with the ground raid and incorporate air raid every now and again just until they get the pieces they need. Because he does need the wide receivers, which they don't have right now, at least fully. You don't have the quarterback play for that. So I do think if once Luke Fickle gets that, I think he could be a successful Wisconsin if he follows up their identity with the ground raid and then incorporates the passing game by getting, again, wide receivers and quarterback play that can help you out in that regard. Because they got a good offensive line play to do it. Receiver and quarterback. It's actually the same thing I've said about Minnesota, where it's like they got a good team. It's just that quarterback play has been the biggest weakness for Minnesota. They've always had good wide receiver play, always had good running back play, always had great, not just good running back play, great running back play with great offensive line play with good tight end play. It's just the quarterback position is just so meh. Like if they had at least good, not great, but good, they'd be fine.
yeah,
When I look at Michigan, I think Bryce Underwood could be a good quarterback because I can see that he can be if he went to a program that actually could develop quarterbacks. Again, he went to LSU. For granted, their defense sucks, but Jesus, you're surrounded with an offense. I
yes,
mean, think about what he did with Jane Daniels. You surrounded him with great wide receiver play, great tight end play, great offensive line play, great running back play. Like you have great around you, and these guys know how to develop quarterbacks. So if he was in that situation, I think he would have been a better quarterback. He could have been a Heisman candidate. I don't see it with Michigan because, and I'm going to say this right now, coaching matters in the sport more than any other sport. Coaching matters. Where you are situationally matters. It doesn't matter how good of a player you are. You cannot overcome a tumultuous, bad situation with horrible coaching and horrible personnel. You're not going to overcome that. It doesn't matter how good you are.
yeah,
You need good personnel around you with good coaching. You got that, you should have a successful career. And it's the same way I speak when it comes to the NFL, because I've harped on this about Justin Fields' career in the NFL, where he went to the Chicago Bears. I ain't got to tell you how big of a dumpster fire that franchise is, how
yeah,
they surrounded him with nothing, how they never built around him, how they had crap coaching and crap personnel around him, as well as a crappy front office and a crappy ownership. So you had that with Fields. How do you expect him to succeed in the NFL? He's in a horrible situation. There was no way he was going to succeed in that. With the
right,
Pittsburgh Steelers, he could have succeeded if they built an offense around him instead of giving him the Russell Wilson offense, in my opinion.
yeah,
So I think that he was in a solid situation in Pittsburgh. Difference is they never really built around him. Plus, I don't think highly of Mike Tomlin as a head coach. I don't. And in the Jets, I think he has a pretty solid situation. Am I saying great? No. But he has a pretty solid situation because one of the great things about it is you're reunited with Jeremy Ruckert, Josh Myers, and you're reunited with Garrett Wilson, your number one receiver from Ohio State. We already know the connection with those two, so I think he's in a pretty solid situation because of
yeah.
that. You got a great tight end in Mason Taylor. You got another the offensive line Justin Fields had might be the best of his career.
All
And
right.
you got great coaching on top of that. I think they got good coaching. So
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. I got a full bank of calls right now, and we are already over the 15-minute mark. So, uh, what you want to drop us a little clue about the Buckeye Lounge? You're gonna leave that for Sean later.
yeah, I'm actually leave it to Sean if he wants to announce the name, but I will leave you with this tidbit that this is a legend of Ohio State who's won multiple Super Bowls, who is an all-time great, and it's someone that no one would have ever thought we could get on our podcast before. Just a heads up.
Awesome.
This is an all-time great, people. Y'all don't want to miss this show.
I've got some ideas already. All right. All right. Well, hey, thanks for calling, TG. We will talk to you later and look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night in the lounge. Have a good night. OH.
IO. Go Bucks.
All right. So that was TG. Guys, I'm debating on whether to do this. The next caller in queue, guys, if you've been on the line for a little bit, please be patient. We are going to, I have a feeling, not have a very long next call. I hope I'm right. I'm hoping somebody has come to his senses and is prepared to talk rationally and calmly. Hey, Dan, how's it going?
I'm doing well, man. Coming to you live from my aunt and uncles in Franklin County. About to leave with them on a vacation trip.
Where are you headed to?
Oh, the great state of Florida once again, but to Panama City to go look at some nice pickup trucks. I'm looking for some spare parts for my truck from Florida. So I'm going down there for a little purchasing trip.
Okay. All right. So what is on your mind tonight?
First of all, Chris, I think you deserve an apology for last week of my insolence. Still, I do want to apologize.
And you know, you're always welcome here, Dan. That's fine. Like I said, we just had to move past. We had a little bump in the road last week. We can move past that.
But I just wanted to give you a little piece of advice, Chris. Just please don't push my buttons because the last person who pushed my buttons didn't end up so well.
Okay, so we've already pushed a button. Threats are not going to work with me here, Skippy. So you know what? Dan, you know what? Maybe you need to be on a little timeout. Yeah, we're gonna put you in timeout just like we do the kids at the school when you can't behave yourself. So, Dan, we're gonna put you on a 2-week timeout. Try calling back in a couple weeks if you can behave yourself. Enjoy your vacation, my friend. We're gonna move on to some actual entertaining callers here. Caller, who do we have on the line today?
It is Dave in Tampa, and
Hey,
we are
Dave.
still national champions.
How's it going?
It is going, man. It is going. I'm feeling good today. Looking forward to that Texas game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What's your take on that game,
Can't
Dan?
wait. I
Don't-
can't wait. Texas is going to be ranked ahead of us coming into our house, setting up perfectly. You know what? We couldn't get the night game, but, they're going to set us up with Texas being like number 2 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that bothers me. The night game thing bothers me. You know, we saw what an electric atmosphere was, that what the shoe was capable of being during that playoff game with Tennessee. And we've all seen it in the past. But, there was something special there when Tennessee came down. We should be experiencing that again to kick off the season. But, it is what it is. The mighty dollar talks, and screw Ohio State fans. You're going to go to Big Noon Kickoff. So.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like you said, go ahead. You know what? Put them at number 1.
Yeah, please.
Put an unproven quarterback at number 1. Tell me he's great, and let's play the game.
You know what, though? As you look.
Tell me he's the elite quarterback, that he's going to win the Heisman. Pump up the volume.
Here's the thing with him, too, though, Dave, is this. You talk about the unproven quarterback outside of Drew Aller at Penn State, who I still consider kind of unproven because he's not done it against anybody of consequence. Drew Aller is the only real returning quarterback of those teams that are favored. So I almost feel like every team, in a sense, is behind that same, behind that 8 ball in the same way, with the exception of Penn State. And I think that's why one of the reasons why a lot of people are picking Penn State as a favorite in the conference. But the fact is, I've got a lot more confidence in Julian Sand with our coaching staff than I do with any other quarterback in the mix.
I concur 100%. Once again, give me a guy that won the Elite 11, and not somebody who dipped out on it. And if you didn't even want to go to that, that really tells me everything I need to know. If you're the fierce competitor that you should be, you should have been one of the first people signed up for that. And he didn't want any more of Ohio State in that freaking bowl game.
Yeah.
And Texas needed somebody that could stand upright, but Ransom kind of took care of that. I think, man, I hate losing to Ransom. I call him the assassin.
Oh, he's brutal.
He was just one of the nastiest. He is the nastiest, hardest hitting Buckeye I've seen in my lifetime. He was just straight, just nasty. And I think Arvell Reese is going to be that next one. I think he's going to be that next dog. You see Arvell just ready to just unleash on some people. You see what he did as a true freshman. He just play in, fill in time. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'm so confident in this team. I do believe we are more than capable of a repeat. I do believe this is a team that is extremely skilled. Yeah, we're young in some positions. We lost, 17 guys, 14, 15 of which got drafted. That's a lot of NFL talent to lose, but we were deep. We got a lot of guys playing time last year. We're maybe in the best position on our offensive line that we've been in I don't know how long.
Yeah, I agree. Going into the season, I can't remember last time the offensive line looked that good going into the season.
Yeah,
maybe 2020.
Probably, if. I am so pumped for this season. I think we just absolutely go out and it's going to be a game. Don't get me wrong. Texas is not going to be a pushover, but I don't see any reason we can't beat this team by double digits. 10-14. I think is feasible.
I agree. I think we beat them by that. I think that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a 10-14 point ball game. I think we take care of them pretty well. I think we're pretty much in command of that game. Like I said, I know you and TG were discussing earlier, about the situation up there, freaking scum. There's another one, Hey, you could have gone to Elite 11, guy. You didn't. I don't think he'd have done a damn thing at LSU. I don't think he'd done anything. I think he'd have probably got in for a few. I think he'd have gotten benched.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to Elite 11, bro. You're not a modern era quarterback. Okay, you're not. You're not modern era potential type of quarterback. You better be able to throw the doggone ball. You're not getting the NFL unless you can throw the flipping ball. You're not going to do well there.
Right.
You're just not. So they can have Arch Manning. They can have, Michigan can have their homegrown boy, whatever. You know what? I trust our talent evaluation. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why we didn't go after either of those quarterbacks. Think about it. How did it work out for us with Drew Aller? We didn't go after him either. Drew Aller is another one. Drew Aller, I don't even know what people are looking at when they watch him. I don't even know what they're looking at. He doesn't have a good arm.
He's a pretty accurate mid-range passer. He's, He's solid, but he's not special. That's the I think what I look at when I see Aller. He's solid but not special.
I don't think he's ever going to win you the big game. He's not. He doesn't have. He's not that type of. He's not that type of player. So I'm not worried about Penn State. Go ahead. Rank them ahead of us too. Rank them. The only ones I can say, okay, I'm fine with them ranking Clemson. Go ahead, put Clemson at number one. I think Clay Kovnick is probably what might be the best quarterback in the country starting the year out.
You know, I think.
I mean, maybe the kid from LSU. Maybe I don't know.
You know, that's the thing. I don't know that there's anybody in particular I would really. There's no quarterback in the nation right now that I really feel like, boom, you know, this guy's head and shoulders above the rest. I'm kind of with you, leaning towards Klubnik to start the season, maybe with that top quarterback position. But, you know, I feel like Arch Manning's a guy who's just riding some coattails right now. Until he proves he can do it on his own on the field, I can't get behind him at all. Yeah, I mean, to me, this is who's the best quarterback in the nation? I think this is a wide open competition. So,
I agree. I don't think there's really a clear number one. There's some people you could say is clear number one, maybe as of right now, but I think that's going to change really quickly. I think it's going to change really quickly. I think a lot of there's going to be quarterbacks and coaches that are going to get exposed. And you know, you can't have a mid coach and you can't have a mid quarterback and expect that you're going to really. I mean,
yeah,
just stop. That's not even reality. That's not even reality. The fact is, we have the best coaching staff in the country. It's not even close. We have the best culture.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Right now, and I just want to kind of get your take on this. If you look at where everybody is at, you've got, you look at the Big Ten, and Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State are all predicted to have 10.5 wins. Where do you stand with that? Who do you think is there? Who do you think isn't? Do you think that the number for, because I'm going to tell you right now, I think Penn State does not get to 10.5. I think you take the under on Penn State. Oregon,
I agree.
The thing with Oregon is, if Oregon gets there, Penn State doesn't. If Penn State gets there, Oregon doesn't. That's the way I see it. But I really believe that Oregon is the better of the two teams. And I think that Oregon probably does get to the 10.5. I'm sorry, they probably get 10 wins and they're under the 10.5. I think Penn State gets 9 wins. Call me crazy. I've got Ohio State going 11-1. And the one loss I've got is probably not one that anyone would really expect.
Illinois.
Okay, well maybe it is one you'd expect. Yeah, I feel like that's our trap game.
Without a doubt. You look where that lines up on the schedule, like what, second week October, and you got a really good coach. They got a really talented roster, and it's that October, and it's away. That is not a fun place to go play. That is the most boring doggone way. It's more exciting to go play at Northwestern than Illinois. But yeah, I think Illinois is where we slip up. I have a feeling we just are not going to play that well that day, and Illinois is going to play very well.
Illinois is always a place where Ohio State has trouble. So
Yeah.
it seems when we go to
Even
Illinois,
if you remember, even under Tressel, we had, man, they were every
well, yeah,
time,
I
man, they
mean,
derailed us.
the year we went to I think it was the year we went to one of the years that Tressel went to the national championship game, we lost to Illinois, and you know, I, it was the Juice Williams year, and I just
Yeah.
there's something that I do not have a good feeling about Illinois this year. So I could, and honestly, I think the days of undefeated champions is probably over, given the new playoff format, given the tougher schedules, the expanded conferences. Um, I feel like to me, it's just undefeated champions are a thing of the past. So,
I agree with that.
if I
I
have
agree.
to pick a loss, I'm picking Illinois because I think that Ryan Day rights the ship in Ann Arbor. I think that Penn State, we own them. Texas, I think we're going to get them. So to me, as I look through and I'm actually trying to find a loss here, Illinois seems like the most logical to me. But
I agree. I do think though that Oregon will probably be 11-1.
yeah,
Oregon does a pretty good job with their quarterback situation. They got a good coaching staff. They have a lot of talent, and they play pretty well together. I could see Ohio State and Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, and I think Penn State's going to be on the outside looking in.
yeah, and Penn State will be probably the third team to get in from the Big Ten. But
I agree.
Oregon, I took their schedule down. I don't know why I did. I had everything pulled up here with all the Big Ten schedules. But yeah, I could see an argument for 11-1 for Oregon. So I look at Ohio State as yes, they will beat the 10.5. Oregon maybe. Penn State no. Michigan. Just before we go, because we're coming up against a time crunch. We got another couple callers in queue, but Michigan 8.5. You taking the over or the under?
I take the under.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, Dave.
I don't see them getting to 9 games. No way.
No, I don't either.
I think they'll be doing great just to get to 8-4. I don't see that happening. I see more like a 7-5.
That's kind of where I'm at, is somewhere in that 7-5, 8-4 range. And I'll tell you, there is scenarios where it could definitely go a lot worse than that. All right, man. Hey, I got to move on to another caller. Thank you for calling in, and hey, hopefully talk to you next Monday. Have a great night, my man.
Yeah, buddy.
OH.
All right, you too. Bye. Bye.
Go Bucks. All right, we got a caller on from the 910. Let's see. Who do we have on the line with us now? Yeah.
It's a wrench.
Oh, Tyler, you've thrown me off twice now with that new number,
Well,
Tyler.
because the thing is, my other phone is broken right now, Chris.
Gotcha.
So I have to get it fixed. So then when 910 number comes in, that's me.
So what's happening, Tyler?
I had to put Dan on timeout. He was getting on my nerves.
Yeah, mine too. But here's the thing, and I don't really want to beat a dead horse with this guy, but my goodness, he comes in here, he's trying to call me out, he's making not so thinly veiled threats. That's not behavior we're going to put up with. That's not adult behavior. It's not Pod Squad behavior. It's not Buckeye fan behavior. This is not behavior we're going to tolerate in our chat, no matter if you have 647 sacks in one game or not, or whatever the absurd number was that he tried to throw out there. If he felt he was being insulted, I feel bad for you, Dan, because my dude, here's the thing. No one believes a word you say when you call in. And I wish you would just get out of this funk, come back to reality, because I really enjoyed what he would call in before, Tyler. He was a lot of fun to talk to. He was very entertaining.
He was entertaining.
But he's gone off the deep end, and that's just not something I'm prepared to deal with, or a direction in which I'm prepared to allow the show to go. So again, I've put him on timeout for a couple weeks, and yeah. So
like both you and Eric have your faces whenever Dan calls in. It's like it's painful for you guys to watch. Both your faces.
it is painful to watch because, Tyler, I feel for the guy. I do. I feel for the guy because half the time I believe he believes what he's saying. And I really do believe he's a good guy, but I believe there's some things going on there that, Dan, buddy, I hope you can get it addressed and get yourself back to where you need to be, because like I said, I'd love to have you call back in and get back to where we were before all this chaos. All right, so that being said, Tyler, what's on your mind tonight?
I got a lot of problems with these Michigan fans thinking that we think that they think that we don't know what we're talking about.
Well, they're morons.
And they are morons, but I feel sorry for them because they're blind following the blind, and it's you want to help them so badly. At this point, it's painful to watch.
It is.
It's like the same thing with Ben.
It really. I was just going to say that it's the same kind of delusional behavior that we were seeing.
I mean, Ben is the same person that called in acting like a Michigan fan too.
Speaking of, by the way, speaking of Michigan fans, Ryan Day's championship beard has gifted a membership to, and I don't know, is this guy a Michigan fan or is this guy just somebody that's from another show? Because somebody made a comment about him being a troll, but it went to the Rod Farva. Well, the Rod Farva, congratulations on your guest membership. Thank you, Ryan Day's championship beard, for gifting that, and hopefully you enjoy what you hear tonight, sir. Anyhow, go ahead with your thought, Tyler.
Honestly, I think Ben is starting to become just as bad as Michigan.
Now, see, I don't know that I disagree with what you're saying, but I'm actually not going to make that direct correlation, because then I actually would be insulting the guy like I'm being accused of. But yeah, I don't completely disagree with what you're saying.
And here's the other thing with Michigan that I have a problem with also Dan at some points is, Dan, you're trying to impress us. Why? Michigan, you're trying to impress us, acting like you are the biggest bullies on the block, and you're a teacher, Chris. So the biggest bullies, they act all tough until they see a bigger bully.
Yeah, exactly.
And I see that all the time in the Army, Chris. Like, all these guys that act like that, they're like, every time there's a stereotype when kids go to basic training, they're going to punch the drill sergeant. And true story, there's some guys that actually go to basic training to punch drill sergeants because they think they're all tough. Michigan, you think they're all tough. You think everyone Like, because you think you're the biggest bully on the block. Well, the thing is, the bully is going to get exactly what he deserves. And that's meeting a bigger bully.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And
And I know I saw some comments that you laid down in that chat that on the video TG and I did. That was the perfect example of what you're talking about. And right up there with all the stuff you've talked about. My God, you would think that nothing had existed outside of that 13-10. That is their defense to everything, 13-10. Yeah, congratulations. You know what? We commend you. You actually did get a legitimate win over Ohio State for the first time in about a decade. Congratulations. We're not denying that. They say we're in denial about that. We're not in denial. They say we have trouble coping. We don't need to cope. We have no reason to cope.
we saw it with our own 2 eyes.
That's right. We saw it with our own 2 eyes. Yeah,
Well,
guys.
unless you're blind.
I just the delusions of the Michigan faithful. This is the part that I think is the most disturbing, Tyler, is they believe it. They believe what they're saying. This is not just simple trash talk. This is not just, deflection. They truly believe everything they are saying. This is a flock of sheep being led to the slaughter.
Absolutely.
And, they have no idea. They really have no idea. It's like I almost feel sorry for the fan base. I don't, but almost.
Because there are decent Michigan fans out there. You had one on yesterday.
Oh, Jerry is a great guy.
So there are Michigan fans that actually don't like what is going on at their program. That don't accept the reality, that don't accept where their program is at. And you know what? Those are the people that we actually like, because they're actually taking responsibility for their program.
Right.
They are not accepting the fact that their program is a piece that is going to a place where it's completely unrecognizable to them.
Yeah. Oh, anything else on your mind tonight, Tyler?
Yeah, I got one more thing, Chris. No.
Okay, hit me. What you got?
And it's just to add on to that. It's so if you're a real Michigan fan and you actually appreciate what you've done these past 4 years, and you think you're actually a quality program, I don't know what to tell you. You need help. You need help. Like Dane, you need help. There's a lot of people need mental health. And people need a lot of mental health. Michigan fans, you need to see a doctor. Straight up. Dan, you need to see a doctor.
Yeah. I have nothing I can add there, Tyler. I got nothing to add to that. So, all right, man. Hey, I appreciate the call. I'm going to hop on with the next caller and, Give me a call again next Monday. Hopefully things go better.
Absolutely. OH.
Oh, go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Ray, I see you on the line. We're going to hop on with you next. It looks like we got Sean on after that. Lines are open other than that. Guys, I'm just going to throw this out there. I saw what was going on in the chat while you guys were, while I was taking the calls. At this point, I feel like the best thing that any of us can do is just ignore it. He's on the attack against me, and I don't care. I really don't. He's on the attack against Eric, which bothers me more than him coming at me. He's on the attack against the people in the chat. Unacceptable. Tyler, thank you for shutting him down because we're not going to have that in our chat. In answer to just a quick answer to him, no, I am not coming onto your show to do one of your unsanctioned shows. My dude, you need to take a few weeks off, stay away from the old WWE wrestling, because my dude, you think that you are one of these guys. You're out here trying to cut a promo instead of, getting on here and talking football, which is what we're here about, or talking Buckeyes, or even slamming Michigan. No, you're out here trying to cut a promo, and we're just not going to have it. That's not what this show is about. That's not what our people in the chat want to be about. So, Dan, maybe it's best if we just respectfully part ways at this time, because I really feel like you're taking things way too serious and out of context, and B, you're becoming a little too aggressive with people that I actually care about. So I'm not a big fan of that. So let's just break it off and ignore anything from our friend there in the chat. And if he gets off a timeout and comes back in and starts any more problems, wrenches, you know how to handle that. So next caller is Ray. Ray, where you? Ray, what's going on?
All right, Chris, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Yourself?
Hey, I'm going to tell you something.
What's up?
That guy talking about them being bullies.
Yes.
I said that 20 years ago when they
Yes.
bullied me out of my season tickets and had an attorney bully me out of the stadium and bully me everywhere they want. But they're gonna pay for all their wickedness in the end. But I'm in shock. I was watching Saturday. Did you watch the Big Ten Network Saturday morning?
I did not. This past Saturday was my daughter's graduation party. So we had a lot going on that day.
I want you to do me a favor, Chris. I want you and Eric to do me a favor, okay?
What's that?
I want you to go back and get the tape for Saturday morning. You know who I seen on there?
Who?
On the Big Ten Network? Warren Manuel. They had him on an interview. And I missed the first 5 minutes, and I said, they couldn't sugarcoat this much. They couldn't have. So I watched it over an hour later. They have a replay, okay? Big Ten Network. You know what they asked Warren Manuel?
What?
They didn't ask him anything about the wickedness and all the crap they have pulled the last 4 years. Nothing about the scandal or anything else. You know what they asked him?
What?
Oh, Ward, you are the greatest athletic director. You have got so many great programs right now. We just can't believe what's going on with Michigan. This is what they asking. Ward, you were on the thing for the college football thing, and you did so many great things for our game of college football. And then when they get done with that 5 minutes later, I had to watch it over because I thought, well, they had to ask him something about the scandal or anything, all the wickedness they've pulled the last 4 years. All of them were soft questions. They went on to the next one. All the fans were telling me I was going to get fired because I told them we were going to win the Big Ten basketball tournament. And sure enough, they won the basketball tournament. He forgets to say that they lost. They were 3 games out against Michigan State in the basketball. Then they go on to the gymnastics that they just won another world championship and they were doing so great. This went on for like 10, 15 minutes. I couldn't believe that the Big Ten Network would ask those kind of soft questions and never respond anything about the scandal that's been going on 4 years. Now, I'm telling you something. I don't think the Big Ten Network wants them to get anything.
You know, this is what I would say to that is a lot of times when you have these interviews set up like that, the network is either given or has to vet their questions through the university.
Yep.
Um,
That's why they let him come
and
on
I
there.
think,
They knew that
that's what it
he
was.
He was. I bet he was told they couldn't ask anything about that.
I'm sure. You know, so to me, I feel like, and this is the thing, and I went round and round with some delusional blue friends about this because they were, you know, quoting Scam Web, they were quoting Johnny as you know, professional sources on this stuff, and then they were dogging out you know, Kirk, they were dogging on us, and it was I tried to explain to them, listen, not a person in Michigan's media, not a person in Ohio State's media anymore is true media. They do what Eric and I do. They provide sports commentary. We just aren't ashamed of the way in which we present it. We don't claim to be fans of any team but Ohio State. We own it. And we give a fan perspective. And that's what the Michigan media is doing. They're giving a fan perspective of propaganda that is being thrown out there by the university. And even the people on the Big Ten Network, it's going to be the same thing. There is no true sports media anymore, just like there's no true political media anymore. Media no longer exists like it did in the days of, you know, Walter Cronkite and those type of guys. There's no real hard-hitting media anymore.
Chris, if you get a chance, you and Eric, I want you to go back to Saturday morning and look at the tape, okay, and then give me an honest opinion on that. Do they really believe that's a great program, talking to Ward Manuel like that, when they know they got a scandal, 330,000 people, he was scamming people? That Weiss guy, he's the offensive coordinator, for crying out loud. That would never go on if that was Ohio State without them ripping Ohio State about that.
Yeah. I wish I could give you a better answer, Ray, but that's just where it's at. The media is going to tell them what they want to hear. They're going to
look over the tape Saturday, you and Eric, and you give me an honest opinion when Eric comes on Thursday. I want him to give me an honest opinion. Is Eric going to be back this week?
Yes, he is.
Okay, well, tell him about this. I want him to go back to Saturday morning, look at the tape. He's on there for like 10 minutes. And I had to watch it like 3 times because I couldn't believe that they went through all that crap and kept sugarcoating that he was the greatest athletic director around and their programs were all in super great shape. And they, of course, they also put in, well, they kind of, we don't like losing, you know, Ward Manuel says. But we did beat Alabama. We beat Ohio State at the end. So our program's in great hands.
You know, he's saying what he has to say.
Yeah.
To pander to his fans. The Big Ten Network is doing what they have to do to pander to Michigan fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll try to take a look at that, and I'm sure Eric was in the chat.
If you lose 5 games, you beat Ohio State by just barely, and then you lost. I don't know how Alabama lost to them when they had 12 players out, but they did. That quarterback was terrible the whole game for
Alabama
Alabama.
was
And
not a good
then,
program last year, Ray. I mean, they just
yeah, and then I don't know how they beat Georgia every year, but they beat Georgia every year.
well, yeah, yeah. But you know what? That could also kind of be a mental block thing, much the way it is with Ryan
Yeah,
Day in
it
Michigan
really
right
is.
now.
It really is. This guy that was a Michigan ticket guy, he told me, he said, all these things go in cycles. They really do. You guys beat them 8, 10 years in a row, and now all of a sudden you can't beat them at 4 years in a row. The other 3 were cheating, but
Right.
I just hope the Big Ten is not going to just sugarcoat it and leave everything up to the NCAA, and they're not going to do a damn thing about this. If it was me, Roger Goodell's got to step up if they really do put some penalties on and give something to Harbaugh after what they did to Tressel when he went to the NFL.
Well, and I'd love to see it, but at the same time, I just don't know that that's going to happen simply because
I
of the
know.
length of the
I
time.
know.
That to me, I
They
think
like
that's a big deal.
they like the L.A. Rams out there in L.A. now that they're left St. Louis, when Kurt Warner was there.
Yeah, yeah.
It all comes down to money. Hey, I'm going to let you go. God bless you.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too, Ray. IO. Go Bucks. All right, guys, only one caller left in queue, and that would be our buddy Sean Schrock. So we'll go ahead and bring him on. If anybody else wants to hop in the queue, now would be the time. If not, after we wrap up Sean's call, we'll go ahead and wrap up the calls for the night. All righty, let's see here.
Chris,
What's happening, Sean?
what's going on, brother?
I was in a great mood earlier. I was in a great mood. I came on. Eric and I had recorded some of the 2-a-day previews right before we came on. I was feeling good about life, and then I just had a feeling I should not have taken that call tonight, and by God, I was 100% right. I need to stop questioning myself. I thought I was going to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, but it didn't work out. We're going to say bye-bye to him for now and move on to happier things. We're going to talk of...
Chris, there's that old saying, no good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah. I kind of feel that way. Yeah. So...
the way I look at it, Chris, if you're gonna cut a promo, be good at it, for God's sake. Be entertaining if you're gonna cut a promo. I mean, I was watching I was like, who does Dan remind me of? I saw him on, his video and everything. And I was just like, you know what? It reminds me of one of the Bushwhackers, Just kind of got that look to him, and he's that goofy and, just not all there. So I think he's just a deranged Bushwhacker.
All right, Sean, I have to interrupt here because Eric's getting ready to go to bed. Eric needs to know before he goes to bed, what is the big news? Who is your special guest tomorrow?
Our special guest, I do have TG did make a mistake, though. Our guest did not win multiple Super Bowls. So, but he has an NFL, he did have a great career in the NFL, and he is an OSU legend. It is none other than running back legend Robert Smith.
Oh, huge! That is massive news, my dude.
Then I'm just going to tell the chat this. Not only do we have Robert Smith this week, but the following week, we're going to have 2 members of the 2014 national champion Ohio State football team on. And it's 2 guys that we haven't had on before. So I am looking forward to, I interviewed one of them, but I didn't interview the other one. So they're teammates and they're really close friends, and they look forward to coming on together. But I tell you what, our buddy Vader, got to give a shout out to Vader. He's come up with some new ideas, and he's got some things in the fire to help our show. And he's been out recruiting some possible guests for us, and he's got a pretty killer idea that we want to run by you and Eric when we got some time, maybe tomorrow, and just tell tell you what we're thinking, and maybe you guys would be interested in this idea that he's got. It's pretty killer, and he's been working hard. He promotes our show. He's part of our team. He does the behind the scene work for us, and he helps us out a lot. And he's also been talking to some possible future guests for us too. So
well,
got a lot of
Sean,
things cooking.
Can I borrow Vader to go out and just promote the talk shows a little bit, or the call-in shows a little bit for me and Eric, because I'm getting really tired of having to talk to Dan every week. We need some fresh meat. Not that I don't love everybody else that calls in, but we need somebody to fill Dan's time slot.
Yeah, I know Vader's in the chat right now. Vader, I guarantee you, he goes on all the message boards, and he promotes the Ohio podcast. He promotes our show, so I guarantee you he would promote the call-in shows. He's a good dude, and he just loves being part of the team. He doesn't ask for any acknowledgement or anything or in return. He's just a good friend like that, and I just want to give him a shout out and give him the credit he deserves, because the dude is just one of the biggest Buckeye fans you'll ever meet, and he's an even better friend to us. So, I mean, just a great guy all around. Never talks any trash to anybody in the chat. Doesn't have a bad word to say about anybody. He's just a good dude, and he just loves Buckeye football.
And that's awesome. We appreciate that so much. And Eric just answered the question. Ryan Daysbeard had a question of where did I get my shirt? It was our pod shirt from 2021. We do have some new pod shirts that's going to be coming out hopefully here in the near future. I believe Eric has said he's submitted a new design. Ryan Daysbeard, if you're looking for one, you're going to have to see if Eric still had any, because sadly, due to something that I'm keeping hidden on the shirt for the most part, we can no longer use it. There is a slight issue with it, but yeah, Eric may still have some. I don't know.
Oh, one thing I'm supposed to tell Eric, I know he's listening. Vader did get his T-shirt in the mail, and he wanted me to say thank you.
That's
so
awesome.
When he joined the membership, and he loved it, he said, "Please thank Eric for me." And I totally slipped my mind. Now that brought up the T-shirt and everything, I remember now that he loves his shirt.
This little part right here almost got Eric and I into some trouble, where it says the OH !IO podcast.
Oh, come on.
we were disinvited from using OH !IO ! The university disinvited us from using that. So
Did you say
Eric's over here trying to get me to push it. So here's what happened with our logo. So Eric makes this logo. It's a great logo. We all love this logo. And we got these shirts going. We have these going for about 3 years. Was it 3 years we had these, Eric? Because we had the Scarlet Fever, the How Firm Thy Friendship, and then the Hang On Sloopy t-shirts. So we had them for 3 years. And Eric receives an email one day.
It was a cease and assistant?
It was a cease and desist order from the university who said, we can no longer use that logo I showed earlier because it infringed on their copyright because it too closely resembled the chant in the stadium.
Oh, give me a break.
So Eric proceeds to go on and check out if it is indeed copyrighted, which it was.
Gotcha.
It was copyrighted right before they sent the cease and desist.
Oh my Lord! Oh, what a chicken crap!
So we failed to copyright the logo, so that does kind of fall on us. But yeah, the university copyrighted it, and we are no longer allowed to use it. So we've moved on to, that's where we came up with the new logo, which you see up in the corner, which we've had going for a couple of
Now,
years now.
is there any way around it since you guys used it for so long and it wasn't copyrighted that you can still use it? Isn't there some kind of way that
Once
because
once they copyrighted it, it kind of put the kibosh on it. But the other thing with that is too, even if we tried to fight it, we don't have the money to go and fight that in court with the university. I mean, come on.
No, and it's just one big headache, and that's something you guys don't need.
And you know what? Here's the thing.
It wouldn't be worth it. You never get your money back either.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, and it's honestly not that big of a deal. I've become accustomed. I like the new logo as well. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Not going to be upset at the university because, A, what good would it do me? And what am I going to do? Boycott watching football? That's not going to happen. So
no, it's kind of sad that they would do that to a podcast that supports them. You know what I mean? It's kind of sad.
In their defense, I wasn't exactly in the supporting mood when we were served this a few years ago, because this was after it was after the second loss to Michigan, I think. Either after the second or the third loss to Michigan. And I was not exactly in the supportive mood. You know, that's in their defense. Maybe we weren't exactly. So Eric was being supportive. Eric's always supportive. But he's critical but supportive. I go off the rails. I don't cut a promo on anybody, you know, but you know.
Or threaten people, but yeah, I get it.
But yeah. So anything else on your mind tonight, Sean? What I mean, I'm so excited for. What is on your mind, because we never got to that. You know, I'm very excited though about that. About having Robert Smith on. You know, you'd mentioned that to me. You were trying to do that a couple weeks ago, and that's awesome that's going to happen.
And next month, there's a couple guys that told me to get back to them. You know, we've had some guests like, you know, that are very interested in coming on, but they're just really busy right now this time of year. And they said, you know, get back in a month and we'll come on. It's just, we got a lot going on right now that, you know, certain guests that want to come on, and we're getting a lot of traction. And it's just really awesome that, you know, me and TG can't be more thankful to you guys for giving us a home and giving us a chance to do what we wanted to do. And that's, you know, interview these heroes of ours, you know, everybody's in the chat, and we get to hear, you know, we want to find out their backstory. We want to get we don't want to ask the same lame interview questions that a lot of people ask. We want to find out, you know, we want to get, you know, the backstory. We want to get, you know, the juicy little nuggets that you get, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. We want to find out stuff that nobody knows, or just hear the cool stories, or what it's like to, I mean, anybody who ever played high school football, any of us that played high school football in Ohio, it was our dream to be an Ohio State Buckeye. You know, and a lot of us just didn't have the talent to do it or couldn't have made it. But, you know, these guys lived the dream that we always wanted to live. So it's kind of cool to hear what it truly is like to be that, you know, to live that, to you know, playing those games and to get to beat, you know, scum and win a national championship and play in front of 100,000 people. I mean, that's just cool to hear that stuff. And
it is.
Find out that stuff.
Yeah, it's really
and
cool to be able
to people you admire.
Yeah, well, and you get to talk to people who, like you said, got to live the dream of every kid that was growing up in Ohio. You know, they actually got to live that dream. And Robert Smith, you know, obviously very interesting path. His path to Ohio State, through the, you know, not playing for the year, his path to the NFL. But yeah, he was, and Steely mentions it, he was one of Cooper's big recruiting victories, you know. And Cooper had quite a few, but Yeah, he may have been one of Cooper's biggest recruiting victories, and you know, I'm that's something I'm interested to get is his take on John Cooper. So
I mean,
yeah, that's something to maybe mention because I'm just kind of curious what his so many of the players that played for Coop absolutely love him. There's a few who may have been around during the transition who didn't exactly
like
revel
him,
in having
care for him.
yeah, revel in having John Cooper as their new head coach. But for the most part, you talk to most of these guys, they absolutely adore Cooper. And I think it's great. Um, you know, but
I mean, you're always gonna have those, two or three people. You're gonna have a few that just didn't see eye to eye with them, or didn't get along with them, or clashed with them. You're gonna have that in any team. I mean, you're gonna have guys that would run through a brick wall for the guy to this day and consider him a father figure that just can't stand the guy and never want to talk to him again. I mean, that's just how it is. And that's the same with, some of these guys. You talk to them about their teammates.
mm-hmm.
There's 100 guys on the team and you're not, you're going for the same goal. You're not going to be friends with everybody, but there's a respect there,
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you guys are best friends, but there's a respect there because you guys, you better respect each other and get along, or if not, you're not going to be able to, win games or, get the goals that you put out, So it's interesting to hear about the brotherhood because, I've heard some of those guys say, not everybody should be in the brotherhood. So I get kind of a chuckle about that, but I understand. I mean, you probably do too, Chris, from playing. There's some guys on your team that you're best friends with and your brothers with, and there's other guys that you can't stand, but you suck it up.
Yeah, but here's my question: are you telling me that this is not going to be a unsanctioned match with you and Robert Smith tomorrow?
I would never do anything to be disrespectful to one of our guests. I would say I have too much respect for Robert, and he had not only was he a Buckeye legend, but man, did he have one heck of a great pro career. And I loved those Viking teams he was on, man, with Chris Carter and Randy Moss and Randall Cunningham, and they had Dante Culpepper there for a while as a quarterback. And let's not forget Corey Stringer was on that team too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe we can maybe get a story or two about Corey from him.
And
Corey kind of
gets forgotten. So that was such a tragedy.
Yeah, I mean
that was such a tragedy.
And that dude was he was on his way to Canton. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
He was that talented of a guy. I mean,
and
imagine you had Corey Stringer. I mean, Cooper had Stringer, then he had Orlando Pace. I mean,
those guys could move some
guys,
peoples.
Oh, talk about pancaking people. Both those guys. I mean,
Aaron threw a post up here earlier. Pepe Pearson, Joe Jurevicius, Elvis Gerback, Desmond Howard all grew up between 5 and 10 minutes around him. And we talk about Robert Smith as one of those recruiting wins, and he was, but then you look, that list that he just gave there, Joe Jurevicius ended up, Penn State?
Penn State.
Elvis Gerback and Desmond Howard ended up playing for that team up north. And, some of this, we actually had a young man who grew up here in Marion who also ended up playing at Penn State. He ended up moving for high school, but O.J. McDuffie.
Man, he was awesome.
O.J. was from here in Marion. Played Pee Wee football here in Marion. He's still got family that lives here in Marion. He was a tremendous talent as well. And another one that, man, I wish we could have got him in the scarlet and gray.
Oh man, he was an outstanding receiver. He was great with the Dolphins too. I mean that guy could fly.
And
no
the
doubt,
other thing that was underrated was he was a good return guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he on their national championship team
I believe
with
so.
Gary Collins and John Carter?
I believe so. He was. Let's see. Yeah, he played 90, 91, and 92.
Well,
So
that was probably around the. Oh, he played for Penn State 91, 92. He made a lot. When was that national championship team with Kajana
yeah, I'm
and
trying to
Gary
think
Collins?
back
That
here. It was 86 was their last one, I believe.
I know they beat
Yeah, they beat Miami
Miami.
14-10 in the Fiesta Bowl. It was 1986.
That's when
So
Vinny Testaverde threw 10 interceptions.
yeah, that was foreshadowing.
Yeah, couldn't see that coming.
No,
he
but yeah, I
was
mean,
still the Heisman Trophy winner. No, didn't Penn State win one in the 90s with Gary Collins and Kajana Carter?
no, I don't believe so. Let's see here.
I thought they did.
Let's double check. I'm going to look that up for you, Sean, just because I'm not 100%. Penn State did not win a national title during the 90s. They finished strong in 1994. They were undefeated, but were not selected to play for the national championship and finished the season at number
Oh,
2 in both
oh,
the
okay.
AP and coaches poll to eventual national champion Nebraska.
Okay, that I know they were undefeated. I thought they got a share of it. I stand corrected. I thought they won one with Collins and those boys, but they finished second.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Poor Gajana Carter, man. That poor guy.
yeah,
Blew his knee
he
out with the
was.
Bengals.
His career never really panned out, and a lot of it was due to injury.
Yep. Oh, when you tear your ACL, in the first year of your rookie deal, I mean, that's just horrible.
Yeah, yeah. All right, man. Anything else on your mind tonight? We just been kind of sitting here talking about whatever. We just been sitting here talking football in general tonight.
That's one thing I love, Chris, that, about this whole thing is I get to talk sports with my friends and with people I love and care about and just have fun. And it's just been such a blast. I just want to thank you and Eric and Sarah and all you guys for letting us come over to your station and be part of the family and be part of the team. It's been so awesome. And everybody in the chat that keeps supporting us. We love talking sports with you guys. And I mean, we even have our own little chat, text group, and we do conference calls. And we end up talking for 3 or 4 hours on the phone sometimes. It's crazy. But I've met some of my best friends, some really great people on this. And it's just awesome how sports brings everybody together,
Yeah,
doesn't matter where you come from, your age, your race, or origin. I mean, it's awesome how we all come together because of our love for Ohio State.
Yeah, and it is awesome. And I've gotten to meet some really, really cool people since Eric's brought me on to start doing this. Obviously Eric and Aaron, who were the first two I met, who were the originators. But through the years, I've got an opportunity to meet guys like Wargo and all the people that come to our tailgates. I'm not going to start to mention because once I do, then I'm going to forget somebody, and I don't want to offend anybody that way.
Then you'll feel bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
But yeah, I've had so many people have come to our tailgates and our game watch parties because we've done some game watch parties. We've been invited by alumni clubs to do them. We have a standing one that we do with Pittsburgh. We love going over to Pittsburgh every year and doing one. I had to miss that last year, unfortunately, due to some personal circumstances. But not to get ahead of anything, I don't want to let a cat out of a bag or anything. But my understanding is we do have a game watch party lined up in Central Ohio coming up for one of the games this season.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna let Eric announce that when he's ready. But you know, it's very exciting. We love doing
That's
the game
awesome.
watch parties, so yeah.
Heck
Wish
yeah.
we could get back out on the road like we were. You know, we had plans to go on the road this season and haven't gotten out too much. I'm hoping to still hit a few festivals and things before the football season starts, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on, brother.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Appreciate
don't
the call, Sean.
don't let any bushwhackers get you down, bro. You know, just
you know,
you got to power bomb them.
I'm
You know, I'll get the table and we'll give them the 3D through the table if we have to. You know.
Rockstar, get the table. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's the problem. I think he's been put through too many tables, or maybe when he played football, he didn't wear a helmet, Chris. Maybe that's the issue.
You know, and
You know, maybe
I wasn't gonna go down there, but you know, you mentioned it, so I'm gonna go ahead. I am going to revisit a few things here because I just want to leave nothing unsaid. And if Dan is still watching, and I hope he is, he's probably still watching, waiting to make some kind of a crude comment in the chat. You know, Dan, we all found you very entertaining. Everyone found you very entertaining at first. But there became a little bit of a concern. My friend, I feel like you need a little bit of help. You know, you would make all these wild accusations. We would ask you for evidence of these, and you would always say, well, just wait till this day or wait till that day. Whether it was the girlfriend thing, whether it was, you know, making wild accusations about law enforcement, whether it was making wild accusations about, you know, having 714,000 sacks or whatever it was, and making these comments about how you and your boys were going to destroy. Yeah, I saw Tyler. I do remember, but if he's watching, I still want him to understand this. How him and his friends were going to destroy Michigan, claiming that he could go out there, basically insinuating they could go out there and outplay the guys at Ohio State. Are you kidding me? This is the finest, some of the finest athletes in the world right now. You don't get to play at a college of that level without being one of the finest athletes and one of the finest players in the world.
Remember, he did say he was a 4-star, you know, in high school. He was a 4-star.
And again, we asked from what school.
And his buddy was as good as or even better than Sean Taylor, who by my money is the best.
Which he wasn't talking about disrespect. Put some respect on that name. Yeah. That's a man who was destined for the Hall of Fame had he not been taken so tragically so early.
That dude was on the track to be the greatest of all time, the GOAT at safety. Nobody's been that big, that fast, that talented as Sean Taylor. Caleb Downs is awesome, but he was not the size of Sean Taylor.
No.
That speed and hit, or, you know, that kind of athletic, freakish ability. I mean, that's a once-in-a-generation type guy. I mean,
so
they break the mold after they make that guy, you know?
This was not putting disrespect on him or anybody else. This was the fact that he was putting disrespect on these world-class competitors. And I simply called him out for it. Now, if your feelings were hurt by that, sorry, not sorry. Get over yourself, my dude. Get a grip. If you want to put on your big boy pants, talk in your big boy voice, and come back in a couple weeks after we've both had a little time to cool down, we might be willing to revisit. But not if you're going to attack the people in my chat, not if you are going to attack one of my co-hosts. That's not cool. That's not the way we do things here. So, all right, man. Hey, I will talk to you later. Give me a call once we get
All
off
right,
air,
brother.
because I'm kind of curious about
All
what
right,
you
we'll
were
do,
talking about
bro.
earlier. All right, guys.
Okay, yeah. Give me a call when you get done, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. I sure will.
All right.
Talk to you
Have a
later,
good
Sean.
night, guys.
OH.
All right. OH.
Go
Go Bucks.
Bucks. Yeah. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for tonight's show. Big thanks to everybody who calls in. Your passion fuels this community. If you missed the live stream, guys, no worries. You can catch the replay on YouTube or slide on over to fansided.com. Pick it up over there. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. If you haven't done it yet, please hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so that you never miss one of our drops. And guys, something very exciting. We're going to be dropping content, not just like we have been almost daily, but we are going to be doing some new live things almost daily. Something that I'm sure Eric's going to talk about a little bit more on Thursday. So that's going to be a big thing. And again, consider becoming an official member. It's only $3.99 a month. You get a free t-shirt after your first renewal, free shipping from the online store, exclusive content, and early access to our digital Big Ten preview magazine. That being said, that's it for me tonight. This is the Wildman, Chris Wilds, signing out. OH.